Oh, I'm going through space. Look at me, dude.
Look at him go.
Oh, I'm flying through FD. I'm getting chain grabbed by Marth. Ah, pretend you're chain grabbing me, BB. Pretend you're chain grabbing me.
I got you.
I'm getting chain grabbed. Look at this,
Woo,
dude.
woo.
Oh, this is the world I live in. This is what you can do if you have a piece of green paper behind you, which I do. Just kidding. I'm in FD. I started to ruin the illusion. Really messed it up.
How's the weather there? How's it going there, man?
Cold, except for that one part where it flies through the part where it gets really bright for a little bit in FD. Yeah. That part's warmer.
Is the center not like the bright center in like the middle of the platform, not like a heat source? It's just,
I haven't tried going down there yet. It seems dangerous.
That makes sense. Yeah, they always say don't go down there, but people don't listen.
Right.
So
don't go down there, man.
They don't. Hey, what up, Samox? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a crazy week, and probably. I mean, obviously we don't get to see all of your behind the scenes stuff, but probably been a crazy kind of couple months in general.
I know. I actually kind of wish that there was an extra documentary. I'm already thinking about it. It's like it needs to be called Meta Game. Clearly,
there it is.
And it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be just like me in pajamas, waking up at 6 a.m. with my coffee, going like this, looking at a screen. Yeah. And then being all excited, when I'm about to release it, and then the pandemic hitting, and then realizing that I won't be able to go outside again for another year. So
now.
Yeah, dude. Now things are looking up. I'm double vaxxed.
Yep,
so
same here.
It's the best. It's the best. We're finally gonna get out from under that, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to being in person and seeing all you guys, at an actual event.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I decided I'm going to go to Riptide. I don't know. I was just like, you know what? This is the first one announced. I'd never been to a water park tournament. I know there have been several in the past. I've never been to one. So I was like, this is the time. This will give me some motivation to diet a little bit, lose some of the COVID weight, hit the water slides or whatever.
When is Riptide happening?
September.
Yeah. I think mid-September, yeah.
Mid-September.
I might have to go to that. I too need a motivation to get in shape again.
My mental image of you is always you in your tank top.
I know. This is also. Wearing, so. I'm exposing myself here. I wear this every time I'm on stream recently. So I just have one shirt.
Tell me about. I watched your stream the other night. PP. Check this out. I went into Samox's stream. He was streaming on twitch.tv/documentaryKid, and he was stacking grains of sand. It was a stack it up stream. Did you know he does that?
I saw a clip of him doing that. Although his clip was when it all came tumbling down. But what I was most impressed by was how much prowess he had to make such a beautiful stack beforehand. And I was like, this guy is someone that stacks deep into the night. And I thought that was magnificent.
It was kind of deep into the night, wasn't it? How did you stumble upon competitive sand stacking, Samox?
So it is a mystical art that has roots, deep roots. I think the first sand stacker was a bored child on some beach 15,000 years ago, probably. Stacking individual grains of sand. No, I actually, it was a metaphor originally for me, as I was doing this whole process. I originally was trying to make Metagame a movie, and then after about 6-8 months of editing, I was like, oh no, I don't think it can be a movie. It needs to be a series. So that whole process, and obviously the amount of time it took, I started thinking of it as like, oh man, this is literally like placing a single grain of sand on top of another one, and top of another one, and top of another one. So that metaphor had been kind of rattling around in my head, and after a while, I was like, is that even possible? Can you do that? Like, can you make that a thing? So later this week, I'm actually going to try to have an official sand stacking stream. Right now, I've just been kind of like screwing around, but I have a mind for trying to become the world's best sand stacker. Although I guess I am.
Who's the best right now?
I think it's just me because I invented the thing.
Oh, you invented it?
Yeah, wait, I'm sorry.
How did you get these little? How did you get them? Because you had little cubes and they looked like they had specifications. You know what I mean? You had like the 0.2s and the 0.4s.
That's 100% right. You do have to, and I looked this up. You can look this up right now on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Sand, I guess the maximum size for sand is like 2 millimeters, I want to say, for most definitions. And these
Yeah.
are 2 millimeter hematite cubes, beads. I'm sorry, you can't buy cubes yet, but as soon as this sport catches on, I'm hoping that you will be able to. So, but these are, you know, I figured it would be a fun thing to try your dexterity at, you know, if you're like a surgeon, you know, or if you just want something to meditate on, you know, there's a lot of potential applications for sand stacking, including, you know, I figured also I'd have cube stacking as well, a slightly easier version, you know, for the children. So
for the children, you don't have to use the surgical tweezers for this.
Exactly. So we'll see where that goes.
I didn't realize you started it. That's so cool. I hope it catches on. I hope you can become the Mango or the PPMD. I guess it'd be the PPMD with the stacking.
That's true. You gotta, and I really hope that I want to have a little, you know, as you know, I want to give you a copy, PP, so you can try it out and give me a testimonial.
Stacking stream.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what I can do to learn from the best. You know, I've stacked in various forms, but perhaps not literally, and maybe this will help me ascend.
The next form is just literal. Yes. Yeah, you stacked emotionally, certainly. You stacked proverbially.
Yeah.
Maybe a little even bit psychologically, but you've never stacked literally.
Right, and that may be the missing link. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Start by doing things literally. That's like the first.
I know.
Usually, so you're hitting it backwards in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I know. You gotta go back to go forwards, or forwards and back are the same thing, right? It's all a circle. The snake eating its tail. Exclamation Radio Melee to get into the Discord to ask your questions for us, guys. It will be in the Twitch chat. Hopefully, you guys are gonna be able to call in. We're looking forward to your questions today, guys.
I'm looking forward to them.
Absolutely. FD Toph and Stack Samox over there. I think we're all just in different phases right now. We're ready for it. So that should be fun. Look at him go. Look at him jiggling over there. That's beautiful.
Wow.
It's got to be a lot easier to get that stuff out if it gets in your shorts too than like typical sand. So
no, you would think so. It actually does run everywhere, though. So I'm thinking when I end up with the final version of like the place where you stack things, there needs to be a lip to protect against it running all over.
Yeah, it is. The sport is in its infancy. We will have to. These things happen. So make sure we can get all of that organized. We don't want any casualties. We wouldn't want the sand spilling onto anyone. So
100%. Gotta be safe.
Right. So in the meantime, while you develop that new documentary, we're gonna have to talk about the old one a little bit. Please forgive us. We talk metagame, Gods Respond, Godslayer, that stuff out now. Now, people, you know, they're gonna be. I think the questions that get asked most commonly when I hear about it, and I think when I see people talking about it, are always, "Is this coming to YouTube? And why is this not on Netflix yet?" He said it was going to be on Netflix. This is not going to be on Netflix. So can we? I apologize. I know you get that all the time, but please, can we have a discussion about that?
Honestly, great question. It is something that I see often repeated, especially because the first one was for free on YouTube. It was one of those things where I was like, I needed to get it out there as like to the masses because it was literally like bubbling around inside me. Part of the reason that I just released it on there too at the time was like I didn't take the necessary steps when I was making the original documentary, The Smash Brothers. That one behind me, how does direction work? That's that one.
There it is.
That one, nice. I just sort of threw together without any permission from anybody. So I was just like, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to grab that. And the second time around for metagame, I really wanted to make sure that I went through the process. That's why it took, an extra. It would have been like out in 2018, but I had to kind of go through and get permissions and everything, and make sure I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's. So, with of course the idea that this is potentially something that could end up on Netflix, which would really kind of raise the bar as far as prestige and getting people's attention, because you have the stakes, you got to raise the stakes even in life, not just in a narrative. And so that's still in the cards. Any potential elevating, stacking up of the stakes are still in the cards. But I wanted it to be available for people that are really into it and want to watch it to get it immediately. So there is a sort of conduit that you can use from Vimeo. I've seen other filmmakers do this two other larger streaming platforms. It enables it to be sort of, it's still under wraps kind of, but if you want it, you can watch it. It enables distributors to be like, yes, this is there's still a lot of people that haven't seen this, and obviously that's still true. Although I will say we had 1 million unique viewers over the weekend for the thing, so which blows me away, man. We've at least reached that many people, not even counting the last time we did it too. So a lot of people have seen it, which is good.
Yeah. So so if I can just understand you really quickly, are you saying that there are certain legal things being worked on, so that's why it's not on Netflix, or is there something else?
So we haven't even taken that step of getting in contact with those distributors and stuff. You go through an agency basically.
Okay.
And this is something that it's totally new to me, and so I'm relying on my business partners, Alpha Zealot, my executive producer, Peter Grant, my executive producer I've known since I was a kid, and they're sort of like leading the charge. And this is the kind of thing that as soon as I know, I will let everybody know. But that is just. It's in the cards right now. We're still working.
It's in the cards.
There are talks. We're going through agencies. I'm sure there's a lot of things that want to get on Netflix right now, or wherever. You're looking at a lot of different platforms too. You said distributors plural, so you're looking at a lot of things and a lot of different talks, and that there's just a lot of back and forth, I imagine. So, yeah, I mean, it's being worked on. When something big happens, he will let you know. And in the meantime, Vimeo does have all the episodes for you to check out, but also if you want to support Samox in a different way, he has a Patreon. You want to tell anyone a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, it's a very perfect you brought that up today. Toph, have you seen my thing I just released today on my tweet I just did not too long ago?
No, I haven't looked at Twitter today.
You should take a look at it. It actually involves you. It's the first metagame Samox facts. It's one of the things I put on my Patreon.
Metagame Samox facts.
And it has
Samox facts. It's the most gorgeous picture I could find of you. Basically delineating your involvement in the creation of the anime that PPMD was watching. In the B-roll shots, you were the main reason that section did not suck. That was thanks to you and Moxie 2D.
Hey, let's go, Toph.
When I watched it on Twitch, I remember I was looking at chat, and there was like one guy in chat that was like, "Hey, is that Toph's voice?" Like one guy recognized my voice out of the flood of chat messages.
I saw that.
There was one guy. I was like, "Wow, good stuff. Well done."
Yeah. No, that's the kind of stuff that if you get on my Patreon, it's patreon.com/Samox. You
no
get more of those. I don't think any underscores. I think I am the only.
Just SAMO. Yeah.
Yeah. Patreon.com/Samox. So if you are curious to get more of those tidbits, there's a backlog. That was Samox Facts 103. There's 102 more Samox Facts, mostly all of them about the original doc. So if you want to get a little inside look at that, there's also a crap ton of extra content from the original doc. It's going to be a crap ton of content from the new documentary on there. So just if you are looking to spend your money on cool extra documentary stuff, I can't recommend it enough. It
or
really does
you just want to help him, because helping Samox also helps Melee, because he does a lot of things for us, including trying to get us on Netflix or wherever. So again, Patreon, Vimeo. You don't worry about the YouTube thing. He's working on getting it on Netflix. Please be patient. He is trying. He's not a scammer. If he would have done it already if he was going to do it. Just trust him.
Yeah,
he's a nice man.
Yeah. The God's Respond interviews are on YouTube.
That's true. Good point.
Yes. And those are good.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of compliments about those actually. Just from the format to the interview style, I think everybody kind of comes off like finally able
a lot
to
of fun. Yeah,
people are able to tell their story, and I don't know. I had a great time doing it, man. I'd love to do. I could potentially see doing more stuff like that.
Hey, if you ever want to talk, let me know, man.
Dude, I love talking to you, man. I had to cut 30 minutes off of yours. That's actually going to be one of the extras on the Patreon.
Is that the record?
Put it on the thing. I think yours was the most I had to chop down because it was our.
I talk a lot. Yeah.
But it was good stuff, man. I'm there's a lot extra there. I think I'll just put that on the metagame YouTube channel though, because it's part of it. So might as well be there.
May as well.
Cool.
Man, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Also, I mean, if you're ever trying to, do anything like that, I would also be super down. That sounds like
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I know you talk pretty. You talk good.
He has a lot of practice.
I loved the style. I loved the style of those interviews. They were definitely super cool because and I gotta say the trailer was so good. The trailer for The Gods Respond had me so hyped because it was such a fun format. I guess it was oh, this is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And it got me really hyped for both The Gods Respond and also Godslayer, which I thought was a really neat kind of. It was kind of like a side timeline, It was this is the main timeline of metagame, and then this is the Leffen arc that kind of culminates in the same,
exactly
same conclusion or what have you. Yeah, and that was dope.
Thanks, man.
I had a lot of fun watching that.
Honestly, it was one of my my just having this deadline coming up, and I got to do these little promo spots and stuff. The sad Leffen music one, and which has you Toph in it, which I was a little worried. I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't take this the wrong way. I think it's really funny.
I thought that was really funny. I watched it on stream. I also was gonna say, the other point I was gonna make was, dude, that quote that HBox dropped at the end of with the we weren't gods, but it was fun being called on for a while. I was like, damn, that's such a good quote. That was a great quote.
Yeah, say what you want about HBox, man. The man also he knows how to talk. He can really sum things up. So
he's got some nice little,
Yeah.
knows how to put a punctuation mark on something.
For sure.
Should we get some callers in here? I think we got some people with some questions,
time.
some takes, some hot takes.
All right.
So yeah, let's get our first caller. It looks like we're doing something different. We realize that we have the ability to read your name. So I don't need your name, but it looks like we got Ika, and I'm just gonna ask Ika. Ika, what's up? Where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from West Virginia, Central
West
WV.
Virginia.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry.
Sure, you love getting that.
Oh yeah, no, I've never heard that before. It's never happened.
You probably don't even know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, probably not.
No, never.
No. What's your question for us today, Iko from West Virginia?
So I was watching Octagon, and I really enjoyed the product itself, and
Awesome.
I thought it was an excellent presentation. I thought everything about it was really good. So my question was, how do you think we could make that a product that occurs more often, and how could you actually add stakes to the matches that occur? Because eventually you're going to run out of top player matchups.
Besides just put more prize money on the line or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I think we should do it more. I like we used to do that. PP, you remember a couple years ago there were some exhibition matches we would do from time to time with they had a 4-man thing at PAX West that I don't know if you were there, but it was
I wasn't there, but I kind of remember
West Balls and it was and we used to do stuff like that, and we used to do I don't know, there'd be HyperX, this, that, and the other, and then there'd be Mango Armada playing an exhibition match and there'd be an Evo thing, and it'd be surrounded by some Street Fighter stuff. I always thought that stuff was a lot of fun. My idea that I have that I want to pitch to Golden Guardians, I've kind of already pitched, but something I want to do to kind of increase the stakes. I like the idea of getting the community more invested here's what I want to do, okay? This is Octagon 3 or Octagon 4 or whatever, but one of the spots is say it's none on one side, and then who none fights is the winner of an open bracket. So we put an open bracket out there. Maybe we limit who can enter it somehow. Like Leffen, players of that caliber. I don't know how you would do that, whatever, but it's the idea is a show match where actually anyone could participate if they, did well enough in an open format, right? And then it would kind of feel like there would be even a way for the community, so to speak, to play in it or be involved. And that might be cool.
Do you think
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Do you think you could even do a thing where eventually it doesn't necessarily have to be top players, but it'd be okay, well, here's a matchup with different incompatible styles. So you get two people. Like I thought, the excitement behind Nun and Moki, beyond the fact that I think they're both probably top 10 players now, was that their styles seem so similar in terms of how they play. Where they're both incredibly aggressive, incredibly they're kind of boom or bust type players. Where when they go off, and when they're when they're cold, they're cold. But it's that when they hit somebody, they die. And like, is a contrast of styles like that, is that even something you could play up? Who's the best at this particular style, or is that something you'd factor into matchmaking?
I love that. Ika, did you get? Did you watch Godslayer?
I did.
So did you the section where I was talking about, or we were like kind of discussing styles and stuff? This just takes me right to that. Like this could be, I don't know, the hard thing I guess would be to classify styles, but like you could maybe mind games, cucumber style, those kind of you put those people into their sort of sides, and would you have them fight as like that style fighting, or like there's a lot of there. I could potentially I like that concept.
Yeah, I mean you could absolutely do that. Go ahead.
I was going to say that reminds me of when Moki and IBDW during the 5 days of Melee did that. They did that. It's best of 5, but then you can ban moves, and then each game you win,
I remember that.
Sorry, each game you lose, you get one of your moves back. That was kind of fun.
That was cool.
That's so I missed that. That's dope.
Mm-hmm. I think they took away IBW's like. I don't remember if they took away full hop. They took away grab. They took away shine. It was fun.
Yeah, they took away like attacks, and that was
attacks.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of funny to watch one be able to not do one thing, and the other was doing it to them, and then they tried to do it back, and then they had to SD. It was a lot of fun. So I think, I mean, I guess like I don't know. I kind of think about it like we probably can't do all of them Octagon style because maybe there's like. Maybe you don't want to make an individual event solely focused on it, or there's just like you don't want to put all that money into it, or you don't want to make it your brand as much about that as you would an open bracket or something. But I was kind of thinking, and I was like, well, maybe what you could do, and this is something that we kind of Toph referenced the 5 days of Melee and the Mango Armada exhibition. So I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe you don't need to do a whole exhibition event, but maybe just have like 1 or 2 matches like that at an event sometimes, and then you can. You either can, if it's topical, you can do that. Like I mean, I guess you could do Mango Armada, or you could just do if someone's beefing, you could just do that, and it could be even impromptu, I suppose. But I was also kind of thinking about like if you want to change, like we're talking about stakes, like for some of the players, especially some of the higher caliber ones, instead of changing money, because Toph was like, oh, we put more money in, whatever. I was like, well, here's where Ludwig comes in once again, and I was thinking about what if instead we had the winner write a tweet on the losers page or something.
Oh, that's
right?
a great idea.
Like imagine Zain gets to write a tweet for Mango, right? Like or whatever, right? Or like Mango writes one on Zain's, or Mango gets to write one on Hungry Boxes. You're like whatever, right? Like it would be insane. And I'm just thinking about this, but like I'm sure there are other things you could do, like you have to do this type of content on stream or whatever, or someone, or the winner gets to pick the type of content the loser does for like a day or for an hour or something. I don't know. So I thought, I don't know, that's like there's various like things you can do to make the stakes more interesting that might not even involve money for the org, but the players would have to just agree to it or something. And the match could still be legitimate and it could still be interesting, but you just do it differently. And so, I think there are ways it can work. I don't know all of them, but yeah, I mean, I don't think everyone has to do exactly what Octagon does. And I think if everyone is doing that, I think Octagon, it's like harder to be its own thing. Of course, we still have skits and we still have, a lot of those sorts of things that I think would be a lot harder for other orgs to do or other events. But I mean, it would be, it's neat to take what Octagon is doing here and try and change it around a little bit. I think that'd be kind of neat.
And so I guess my as part of that question is like, could you actually make it like so I don't know if you've actually like watched say UFC or something, but a lot of times, or especially back in the day, what they would do is they'd have like a matchup that was just based on styles where they expected it to be two people who were just going to beat the crap out of each other. And it was just meant to be there less on the basis of skill and more on the basis of these two are going to be really fun to watch. Let's put them here. And then these two have a genuine beef, so let's put them here. And then the main event's something like, a Mango Zain, where it's actually just the two top players going at it, or in that case, like a championship fight. So I guess like, could you even use that to maybe keep from having to blow off all the top tier guys facing each other and just kind of like
Oh yeah.
permeate the card, so to speak, with that.
One of the most. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was okay. I was just going to say really quickly that one of the sets that I think people talk about the most still from exhibitions was S2J Lord. Lord, not a top player, but certainly like a solid one. And they had a. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm not saying he was bad at all.
Hey,
I'm
you
just
put
saying,
some respect on Lord, sir.
I think Lord's great. It's just everyone has a different perspective what top player is. I was just saying it was different. Like there was a little bit of separation, not like a massive one. Well, you think S2J and Lord are the exact same skill?
Right. I know you.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I think Lord won that set.
Look, the point is not to trash talk anyone. The point is that it was a little bit different. Like you anyway, and so at the end, what made it exciting was they were willing to play it in a way that was really fun to watch, in addition to doing really good stuff. And so
he could have just held the ledge. He could have just held the ledge.
Right. And so I think things were way more interesting because there was that kind of expectation there. So I think that could be really fun. I think that, and I think I think there are various players that, especially ones that have more developed brands, that could be there for that. But even if they don't, I think if they make the Melee interesting, I think this could be a way to grow certain players' brands, which could be good for everyone. So I think that's a good thing to do.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's something we used to do. Just you bringing that up, those Falcon Ditto round robins.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that stuff is fun, man.
Yeah.
Fun as
There are
hell.
characters you could do that for today. You could do like, I could see, you take. Who are like what's a character where there's a couple up and coming players? I guess
Falco.
LSD stopped playing. I was thinking, Falco's a good example. I was thinking like LSD, Kadoran, or Falco. Say you take, I don't know, Magi Ginger,
BBB.
BBB, and who else is kind of Albert maybe
Albert,
oh, yeah.
and Azle or something, right? Rocky,
right?
Yeah. And that would probably
Frenzy.
be super fun. Frenzy, yeah, totally.
Mhm.
I think ditto based like that, because then there's kind of the narrative like, who's the best, blah blah blah. At least who's the best. I mean, obviously it doesn't actually answer who's the best of those players or whatever,
Right.
because there's such a thing as being good at the ditto, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think the Falcon Ditto ones have always been great.
Yes.
There was the one at Pound 4. There was the one at that tournament, which I think was whatever tournament that was. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Those are fun.
Hell yeah.
Those are fun.
Those are classic. Falcon round robins. I don't know. Is there something about that just that particular character that is something that always featured?
Yeah, dude. I think it's like the Lord Estrogen thing. I think that people on any other matchup they'd be holding the ledge, but Falcon Dittos, especially like in a format like that, you gotta go above and beyond.
Gotta go for style, baby.
Something about it. Something about it. I actually, speaking of this sort of, like formats, there's an idea that Atrout gave me that I think I'm going to try to make into reality. I'm trying to get my fight nights going. So Atrout basically gave me this idea, but I might even bring him on for it if he's down to like help commentate or something. But the idea is you basically like, this is what I want to do, okay, on stream. So it's like a once a week thing. Like say it's like Friday nights. Maybe if there's a major going on that weekend, you put it off till the next week or something. But every Friday night, there's imagine the first week to start off, it's like, I don't know, Ginger versus None or something. And then the winner gets some purse of whatever, $100, just, some amount, whatever, make it worth their while. And they stay on for next week. And then the next week, it's going to be this Kadoran plays the winner. So if None wins, it's Kadoran versus None. And then whoever stays on, they basically get a streak going. And then it's just every week, and it's basically an exhibition match, 1st to 5 or whatever, hype it up a little bit. And it's just basically winner stays on.
King of the
You know what I
mountain.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
Does the amount of money go up if the streak goes longer or what?
Ooh.
Well, wait. Is that money coming from me? Because then
Right.
no.
Right.
Zane's
Maybe
gonna
the
distort
sponsor.
Toph.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
tough.
haven't thought that far into it.
Yeah, Zain
Right.
stays
It's an
on the
idea.
mountain for 6 years and extorts Toph from all his money.
Right. I think the idea is I invite who comes on, so I think I just am not going to invite Zain.
Yeah, no Zanes. Yeah, I mean, what you could do is you can also just like cap out a streak at a certain point, and then you could have
Also
like a
true.
legacy, right?
True.
How many people hit this legendary amount of wins or whatever?
That would be really
Mhm.
cool.
It's a cool
Yeah,
idea.
I like that.
Anyway.
There's actually not to derail us, but I had been I thought of this is a kind of an alternate way of playing. I was playing just I called it the Thanos Gauntlet or the
Okay.
was it something like that, where someone is basically Ganondorf who's Thanos, and then you're playing different characters like that like they would be plausibly from the Marvel universe. So what's a good example? Captain Falcon's Captain America.
Right.
You try, and then if you lose, then the handicaps you change the handicaps each time. So Thanos gets stronger every time he wins a battle, and then more people play at the same time. So there's something there. It's like it never really kind of crystallized.
That reminds me of one of those event matches. If you ever play the Melee event matches, that reminds me of an event match, except just with real people.
Yeah, Thanendorf Gauntlet.
There's something there.
The
Thanendorf Gauntlet. Wow,
beautiful.
So think about that one.
Yeah, TLDR. I think there's a lot of ideas. It's just someone has to do them. I'm probably gonna do the fight night thing. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah,
that sounds dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone in my chat even asked me, "How would you choose the challenger?" However, I feel like it.
That's right. It's your
Bring
show.
on whoever the hell I want.
That's right. Tell them.
I'd open up to a vote. I don't know. How do we decide which guest to bring on for Radio Melee?
I message you usually Sunday or Monday.
Please. We hit someone up. And this week it was Samox.
But sometimes I ask my chat and I'm like, who do you guys want? Yeah, and it's crazy. I had like 200 people in my chat, and all 200 people, no lurkers. They all came in the chat and were like, "We want Samox." It was beautiful.
All of them. There wasn't
every single person. No lurkers. No one was somewhere using the bathroom. All 200 people said Samox. Crazy.
I was the chat box. I was there. I saw it.
That's awesome.
Insane. All right, we're gonna get to our next caller. Thank you, Ika. Right. Any shout outs?
Shout out to the Central West Virginia Smash scene. Shout out to my man Jibs. He's in Texas now, but and that's
saying Central West Virginia is kind of like saying upper middle class. Right?
That's true. Yeah. But hey, we got scenes here too. We got
Hey, let's go.
Oh, yeah, man.
I kind of like that the West Virginia scene has enough players to where you can divide it up. That's kind of hype.
Yeah.
Well, It's kind of like I live in a city called South San Francisco, but it's very confusing because then people are like, "Oh, you live in the south part of San Francisco." I'm like, "No, I live in South San."
Yeah, that is much more difficult, I think.
That is I don't know. It's a little more confusing. Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. Oh, and thanks to Toph, by the way, because I'd messaged you and said I wanted more topical content, and I got on the first try, so that's pretty hype.
Awesome. Glad to help.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. More topical content. Yeah, we got some questions. I think we got some questions about metagame and Samox stuff that hopefully people can get. They have enough time for everybody. So let's get our next caller on. Esca? Hello, Esca. Where are you calling in from?
My bad. I was muting the Twitch stream. I'm from NorCal. I've met you at Pappy's.
Oh, nice. Nice. Love NorCal. You still there?
Yep. Somebody else.
Oh, okay. That was warm. All right. What's your question? Shout out to NorCal.
Let me get the doc since it's quite a bit.
All right.
So, given that I'm a controller modder, I've been doing this 3.5 years, give or take, commission-wise. That I've seen the controller market for quite a bit, and I've seen it go very, very downhill. As in, you could throw a controller for $300, it goes fast because the demand is really, really there. But the question isn't really about that, since those are for the cash cows, the people that are like, "Oh, I need this controller to not go to," and they still go to. But but yeah, so it's like the issue I'm seeing is that the game controller supply is just gonna end. One day it's just gonna dry out. All the controllers can be left are just the crusty, like the ones that they tried to refurbish, but you got a shitty stick box. So the issue I'm thinking about is what can we do to fix this for the new people that see the game on Twitch or whatever? It's like, oh, I want to play that. They go to eBay, put on a game controller. They're all $100. You don't even know if you're gonna get a good controller or anything. It's just $100 down. You don't even know what you're getting. It's like eventually you're gonna get to that point, and it's not gonna be really sustainable because not everybody can drop $200 on a Smash box or whatever. I'm not gonna talk about like the upcoming different org projects because I have my issues there in how they're gonna possibly support it, given my issues with previous things. But whatever.
Mhm.
So
Third
like,
parties.
yeah, it's like because even then, I have yet to see a third party that does pots well.
Yeah.
So the question basically boils down to controllers are going to run out. What can we do to fix this? Because if we want to expand the scene, that is something very important that we need to do. We need to address because there is separate projects like Gumi's PCBs or in Fires with his click box, but like those are going to be very niche, either due to price or just due to like it's one person running that project. So what can we do about the controller market eventually going dry?
Right. Well, why do you think it's going to be very niche, right? Because like my understanding is that, you know, for example, my understanding is that he wants to make it Gumi, for example, wants to make it so that it's kind of affordable and available for everybody. Like I see your point, and I do think it's concerning, but I think it was, if anything, I think I used to think more about this sort of thing, right? Like I was really worried about controllers running out and drying up a couple years ago. Now it actually seems like there are alternatives, because a couple years ago there weren't alternatives, right? Like if we just ran out of GameCube controllers, that was it, and we were done. And you know, it was like, oh my god, this is like a really serious concern. Now we actually do have alternatives, right? It's like obviously there's like, you know, Smashbox, Box, Frame One. There's the Goom Wave, which can be mass produced. I think is being mass produced. I think Gumi's vision is to have it be eventually, once the supply and demand makes sense, and once he's able to kind of. I haven't spoken with him in like a couple months about it, but last I heard, it was like he was trying to make them quite affordable. And if anything, they should make life easier for controller modders, not harder, because, you know, people will still want things like notches or whatever. People will still want things like whatever fancy trigger plugs and things like that. But the base package of like you can get a reliable controller, in theory, should just be there for everybody. So I actually used to be more worried about this than I am now. I've also heard good things about the Panda controller. I know that they apparently I know that they're controller, you know, official controller modders that they're actually like working with to make sure things are good. But yeah, obviously we have no idea how that's going to turn out. Like we want to put our hope in it, but you know, we just don't know. So it's hard to comment on. But I will say it does feel like these days there actually are. Because yeah, you're right. I think back in the day, it was like if you wanted a non-official controller, like there was like really crappy, like Mad Cats, like really awful third-party controllers that were terrible. But now there are third-party options that are actually like pretty promising. So I would say I'm less worried about this than I used to be. I used to be very worried about it, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, there's not a whole lot I feel like I can add to that. Toph covered that really well. I feel like I guess the only other thing I can really say is it is, and this is kind of like one of the main arguments about the rectangle people, is if you become a rectangle person, you no longer have to worry about getting things modded a lot. I mean, maybe that's not true, but that's my understanding anyway.
Yeah.
So
you just use it stock, you know.
Yeah, it just goes for like, you know, years or something, and so you don't.
Dude,
have to
if I was starting fresh, I'd probably use a rectangle. Then I don't know.
Sure.
They seem legit.
Wore out, so it's like eventually you will have to tune stuff up, but like it's a little more like just buy the box and let go.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like Toph said, I mean, having these alternatives is going to be okay for us. And then I mean, maybe this is not, I don't know how useful this is, but the fact that new controllers do get made sometimes, even if they're not always the best, it seems like some of them are okay. Some of them have parts that are okay. And I feel like that's probably got to be able to do some good too. So I think that's going to hold off some issues as well. I mean, that doesn't change the base issue, but I feel like it buys us time to where we are making more of our own solutions. And while I feel like, you know, I'd really like for the Panda controller to be it, I don't really know, like Toph said, but I do feel, as far as I understood, as far as I heard, like what Toph was saying, they're working with modders, and it seems like that should be a pretty good shot. So I don't know for sure, but I feel like we're going to be able to hold on till then with the solutions we have and everything. But yeah, I mean, things are kind of crazy right now. I don't want people to have to pay a bunch up front to get into Melee, but granted that it is still it's a decent upfront cost. And I think, you know, there are some other things about Melee that can be a bit of an upfront cost. I think it can still be better for Melee than for a lot of other games to get in. So at least we have
Like
that going for us.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Sure,
can't
sure.
imagine.
You know what? You know what I will add is that as a controller person, you should make this your mission in the sense that, like, okay, here's the thing, right? Like, a couple years back, there weren't really controller people like that. There weren't really modders like that. Maybe there was like Typo.
Oh yeah, Typo is
Solano.
exactly why I got into this.
Right, exactly. So yeah, but back in the day, there was like one or two of them worldwide, basically. And I think that, like, there's a lot of controllers out there that are pretty crappy. Like, just like the average game controller is like kind of whatever, right? But like, if you know your stuff, if you know, for example, if you can install a capacitor, notch, if you can, if you know how to, like, buy like potentiometers and replace those or solder or whatever, like as a good controller modder, you can take and otherwise or replace the stick box or whatever. Like, if you can take a crappy controller and make it better, right? So like, there's a lot of crappy controllers out there that many years ago people would just not want to use, but now, like, say that's like 80% of controllers or whatever, like, feel bad, like, you can bring those to life, right? Like, that's kind of how I would try to think about it, is that, like, I've got a ton of controllers sitting around I've probably got like 20 bad controllers sitting around my house. That a couple years ago, I just I don't know why. I guess I hoard when it comes to controllers and GameCube peripherals, but I could take those and give them to a good controller modder, and they can at least use some of the parts from them, or they can Frankenstein them together to make a really good controller, or they can replace the potentiometers. Because I know that my understanding is there are potentiometer suppliers that are not just Nintendo, right? There are like several manufacturers. Esca?
Oh, it's a little bit. So there's for the analog pots for the shields and the stick pots, you can buy them, but I think the shield pots are very, very expensive, or in like Europe only, or at least US wise, they're very expensive. Because Spires has found the stick pots, but I'm not too sure what the current state of that. It's just that my big issue with that is that they could at any time say, "Oh, we're not making these anymore. We're not going to sell them." Because we could have stick boxes, we could have PCBs, but if we don't have good pots, it's like we're just kind of screwed.
Dude, we get so many questions. Like, we get so many questions, and I always feel like it's kind of funny how I don't know. Maybe this is not the way to answer this particular one, but I always kind of feel like, man, if only we just made this stuff ourselves, we'd be all right. And that we've solved so many problems that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if we solve this one that way or not, but
right? At least box controllers, right?
At least the boxes. Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me at this point, if literally I can never get a controller again, I will just buy a box and learn how to, you know what I mean? I'll just do that.
Yeah, if we have no choice, yeah.
We have that option now, right? So I would say that alone, we're in a better spot than we were a couple years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got more people like yourself that can take controllers and take old bad controllers and make them better. So I would say, this should be like, I don't have an end all be all answer for you, but you can make this your mission.
Yeah, it's just to start the conversation, since eventually we're gonna have to do this one way or another.
It's good to start thinking about.
It is. It is. But yeah, I would say, that's the kind of thing that the Melee community has, is like people who they identify a problem and they're like Samox. People said, hey,
I was gonna say, like, I know a lot about constructing narratives and shooting interviews and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that potentiometer is a word and it refers to something. I have no idea though. But hearing Toph talk about it, hearing Esca talk about it, it does kind of make me feel like, okay, well, this is definitely something that we are tailor-made as a community to deal with. This is something that, as soon as a problem approaches the Melee community or the Smash community, we deal with it, and I am not super concerned about that. And not to say it's not an issue, just saying that I'm not. I think we will be able to deal with this if it becomes an issue.
Yeah, I don't see this being the thing that, you know, this. I don't see this as being the thing that it's like, oh, we can't play Smash anymore. Guess we're.
Yeah.
I guess we're not here. I don't see it reaching that point.
Yeah, it's gonna be more of a traffic bump more than anything. And Samox, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I picked the worst week.
Oh no, don't worry, man. I'm just here to talk to these guys and listen. I had no idea about this issue. I'm kind of glad I am here for this. So just to hear about this kind of stuff.
Right, now Samox can tell millions of people about it, and then the billionaire that sees this can get into production and solve the problem. Thank you, Samox, for being here.
No, this is how it works. This is how the chain reaction works, man.
Yeah. You got any shout outs or anything like that, Esca?
I want to shout out the NorCal Ultimate scene. They've
I love the NorCal Ultimate
I
scene.
burned the hell out of Ultimate, but I really loved hanging out with them. So that probably didn't help. They've also funded a bunch of FOMI. So if you're in NorCal and like near the Milpitas area, go there. It's amazing food. Chainsaw Man was mid as hell, but Dandadan is pretty good. Read Overgeared 2020, God of Blackfield, and watch Nomad 2 Megaloop Box. It's very, very good.
Are those two different ones?
So
Nomad.
Go ahead.
I cut you off. Sorry. It sounded like you said Nomad 2 Megalobox, but I thought those were two different anime.
So Megalobox season 1, Nomad is season 2, and Nomad.
Oh, got it.
Nomad you could probably watch without watching Megalobox. And it goes pretty like flashbacky in it, so I'm pretty sure you could go in blind and still really enjoy it.
I love a good origin story. It's kind of like watching Godslayer without watching the original metagame. You could do that. You could do that if you wanted. You don't have to watch them in order. I mean, you can.
I love the reference.
Probably. All right, thank you, Esca. See you around one of these tournaments.
Sorry.
You got one more?
On my Twitter, I'm doing a controller giveaway because I need clout to make money.
Okay.
So at Esca Brerean, so ESCABRERAEN, and it's just
ESCABRERAEN.
Yep. So it's
Esca.
Yep. And it's something that works for both Ultimate and Melee, so hopefully it's a wide net. So yeah, so I just gotta show my shit too because I need to make money.
No, good call. Yeah, if you guys want to take part in this controller giveaway, go check them out. Probably got to follow and retweet or whatever. It's a good deal. All right, Esca. Well, I'll see you around, and everybody go check out Esca's controller giveaway. He does quality controller work. I saw him in Ultimate Tournament a while back. Yeah, love to see a young entrepreneur.
Hell yeah,
doing stuff in Melee. I think we're about ready to get our next caller on.
I love that you referenced Samox's stuff while we were typing that. That was fun.
It's all about bringing things back. You know what I'm saying? It's about going out there and then bringing it back, going full circle. That's right.
I love it.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. SpaceOpera. Love a good space opera. Where are you calling in from today? You're muted.
Yeah, agree. You were definitely muted, SpaceOpera.
Uh-oh. Do we have to help them unmute? Sometimes we have to help people unmute in here. It's like challenge. It's like uh-oh.
Oh. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, there we go.
Hey, calling in from outer space.
I'm new to Discord.
Oh, no worries.
So hey, my name is SpaceOpera or Ajay, and I'm calling in from Washington D.C. And my question is, I guess, mostly directed towards PPMD, given his experience. But you guys are all free to comment on it. My question is, so this past weekend at Octagon, we saw Mango lose again to Zain. So I was just wondering, what adaptations does Mango need to make in order to get the edge on Zain's Marth?
Great question.
That is an excellent question.
Samox, you start.
So, if I've learned anything from sand stacking, it's that you need to be very careful for each square that you place. I think you can extrapolate this into what Mango needs to do, which is use a tweezer to manipulate his buttons. I think that's the best thing he could do.
Do you mean a literal tweezer, or are you trying to make a metaphor with precision?
No, I literally mean this tweezer right here that you would normally use in sand stacking. So, that's probably the next step. We were just talking about controller mods and controllers. It's adding the tweezer to the GameCube controller. That's the real next step. No, I have no fucking clue what Mango can do. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, PP?
I am pulling it up now, so I don't say some real ignorant stuff. So I'm gonna stall and say Toph can go.
You pulling up the set right now?
I'm watching the set right now.
Are you gonna watch the set at 2x speed? Did you watch? Have you seen the set, PP?
I have. I watched it live and I watched it on stream yesterday. But I'm just watching it again just so I can because these sorts of things when you have more people watching, you're just like, all right, I don't want to.
Hey, I will say I really liked your I loved, me and Scar talked about it a fair bit when we commentated the last two sets of the day. Was it None versus Moki and Mango versus Zain? Really liked your, what's it called? There was a name. We had a little name for it, but it was you had like a little, it's like thing to watch for this player. Like it's like what was that called? It's like Kevin's Corner or something.
Yeah, Kevin's Corner. That's what it
Kevin's
was.
Corner. It was good. Yeah, it was good. I really
cool.
liked your thing for None was like, he'll get you into a scramble, then he'll kind of outplay you out of that, and it's like, it happened again. It happened again. It happened again.
Yeah, I mean, when I made that, I did analysis beforehand, and I looked at everything that happened, and I kept looking for the things that happened a lot. So I talked about that, and I tried to make just a few bullet points to make that happen.
Hey, wait, I didn't see. What did you put for me? So I'm completely hijacking. I'm completely changing the topic.
That's fair. You are changing the topic, but it is funny. So what I did was, for you guys, I was asked by the production I was asked to just talk about general things because that would I was informed that would make it easy to follow no matter how things went. And so that was what I did. I regrettably and tragically did not look at a lot of Toph versus Falcon videos, but I can always solve that problem if you want me to.
I've got a lot of gameplay footage.
That's true. Toph's been around and he's been doing work, man. He's had the drug fox lessons.
So you didn't have did you have a Kevin's Corner tidbit for me?
I did.
Do you remember what it was? What was my key to victory or whatever? That's what
I talked about the Fox keys and the Falcon keys, and I talked about how if you're Fox, what you want to kind of do is you want to hit the low percent tech chases either on platforms or on the ground, and you want to make sure also that you're staying right outside of where Falcon can swing, usually with aerials in place or slightly forward, so that way you can pressure what he does afterward. Because that's something that Foxes do really well that messes up Falcons a whole lot. And those are kind of the two big ones that I kind of noticed a lot just from because I was watching Cody S2J and I was also watching
Zone 2. You're talking about Zone 2.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
Zone 2?
I'm not as familiar. I know the idea of it, but I don't know the specific space. But yeah, it probably is Zone 2.
Sounds like you're talking about Zone 2 to me.
Yeah, heck yeah, Zone 2. That's my boy. We go back. Yeah. But to regrettably leave our boy Zone 2 behind for a moment and return to the question. So
you
watching
pull it now.
I had it pulled up.
Did you see how I expertly stalled for you by asking this stupid?
Oh, you did? I didn't. Oh man.
Did you see how professional that was?
Was good. It was good, but I was like, oh, Toph really wants me to answer this, so I have to stop watching the set so I can answer him more accurately.
Oh, no.
It was good. That was really good, but I got scared. I was like, Toph really wants me to. Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good though. I got a little bit more of what I needed while we were talking. So okay, so that was fantastic. Thank you, King. So Mango against Zain's Mart, I think a little bit of it is going to come down to some different ways of edge guarding, and I don't think Mango did a bad job. It's kind of like Mango gets a lot of openings and Mango will kill a lot and everything like that, right? But it's Zain is almost when Zain's getting openings, he's just killing faster and he's hitting things more consistently. So that's kind of part of the bar, right? Mango just has to be there a little bit more. But I kind of watching a little bit of the first game again, I do kind of recognize that I mean, this might be a bit of a philosophical thing because I think not everyone really agrees with this, but I have always kind of felt like rushing down Marth has not really been the way. And I know that some people disagree with that, but when I watch and I watch Mango take a little bit more time, it tends to work a little bit better for him. And when he's going nuts on shield, it'll be like a 50-50 on whether it works or not, it seems like. But Zane's getting really, really good at reversaling out of that. And so I've always kind of been of the mind that, and again, this is not every person agrees with this and everything like that. So that is, if you're asking me, you know, I am going to say that I think there's a different way to do it. But taking not, you don't have to necessarily be really defensive either, but getting Marth into a place where he's got to start guessing more. And if he does hold shield, which Mango's actually really good at getting Zain to hold shield, if you take that time and instead of like trying to rush, you just kind of say, well, there's nothing you can really do here. I'm not going to hit you, but I'm going to like space on you so you can't do much. I think that at least if you do that sometimes, I think that makes it harder for Marth to deal with just as a character. And I don't think that's something that Mango does a lot. And he does things where he gets there and he makes that happen some, and then he'll do something aggressive from there. And so I think Zain just kind of waits that out a lot of the time. And so I think like that is something that's big for me in addition to like edge guarding, because Mango combos really well. Mango will have like pretty good edge guards. Mango juggles really well, like, and he tech chases well. Like it's not like he has like a ton of holes or anything like that. It's just they're just like, it just needs to all kind of come together more. It just needs to like be as consistent as Zane's being, which is hard for really anyone because Zain is a monster. So
Zain played he's really reliable. Like when he gets into a situation where he can flowchart the edge guard and like react to everything and cover everything, he was like super good about that. I remember some gimps, some reversals. Reversals really good work because I remember in the Kevin's corner you were saying that a big part of the game is going to be Zain finding reversals. And remember there was that game where Mango was at 0 and Zain was at like 120 on Dreamland, and it was like that classic Mute King moment, you know? Obviously it was Zain, but it was like one of those Mute King moments. I was remarking that the Golden Guardian skin being like looking kind of like Black Marth made it like that. But there were a lot of moments where Mango, if he just like there were games for sure that he kind of just got edged out because and the thing about Marth is like Marth doesn't have Marth in his shield, for example, is like kind of limited. Marth on the ledge is kind of limited. You have to you have to take a risk there. And I felt like a lot of the situations where it was like, okay, Zane's gonna take a risk here to like try to go for a reversal. He got him a lot. Like he would do these forwarders out of shield and like nairs out of shield. I saw I think this might have even been from this wasn't from the set itself. This is from one of the friendlies that they played the day of, but this kind of exemplifies what I'm talking about. I remember Mango shined Zane's shield and then he went, and you know, Mango likes to go for that laser pressure because he's like, oh, the average Marth might wave dash out of shield, so I'm going to cover that with a laser to kind of lock them down as they're trying to get out of their shield, whatever, keep the pressure going. And Zain reads that Mango's going for, it could not have been on reaction. He reads that Mango's going for laser pressure, and he does nair out of shield with Marth. And then combos that nair into a grab. And you know, Marth's nair is not what I would call a very standard out of shield option. Right. You know, it's got a fair bit of startup. So the fact that Zane's getting so many of those, like those need to change for sure. And I think you're right on the edge guarding thing. Like, I think it comes down to like Zain is a system, and I don't think Mango's a system. I think it feels like Mango's kind of, you know, he's kind of making up as he goes. And I feel like dude, this is like an old Phil-ism from NorCal. By the way, Samox went invisible.
Yes, you did.
Okay, LSD in my chat says nair out of shield is the best option. So maybe it's just completely standard these days. Well, then Mango needs to cover it. He's got to make it the worst option again. You know, he's got to, I don't know, double shine more or something. Because that'll stuff it for sure. But yeah, you need a system. Like Phil used to say, like the way you upset people. Not that this would be an upset or what have you, but the way you got to play if you're trying to beat someone that it's like a challenge to beat or something like that is you got your edge guards. Like it just makes the whole difference.
Yeah, I mean I agree with that. Yeah, the edge guards, like, because you could just get a random hit like if you're having a rough game and you kind of kick someone off the stage at 30 and things aren't really going your way, but you're like, okay, I know what to do, and then they yeet out. I mean, that is huge, that massive and big. So I think that's really big. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I also kind of just want to say that like Mango, like when their set started on Saturday, Zain was really flowing well and looked really prepared for a lot of stuff Mango was doing. But actually, as Mango started changing up the way he was playing neutral, because he was changing a lot of things while he was playing, and he was starting to throw Zain off his game a lot. Like it wasn't just like Zain was just perfect the whole time. Like Mango really started throwing him off, made Zain drop things, mess up a neutral some. So it's not like Mango is out at all against Zain. This is not something that's being suggested here. It's more just like if he can create the things he's already creating and push the advantages further, then he would be in a better spot. Like that's really it. And it's like, and you can talk about like it being like a Falco thing or like a Falco Mar thing, but I really do think that as well as Mango can play and as much good stuff as he's done to Zain, I think it's entirely possible for him to make things stronger and to make it a reverse the next time they play or whatever. So I mean, edge guards can bring it together, but certainly other things can too. And I think he can make it happen.
Random tidbit here, but also Mango was saying on stream yesterday that he really does want to start dual maning again, and he's planning on trying to use a little bit more Fox than Falco in the Marth matchup.
He was playing so much Fox beforehand. I think many people were expecting him to do that. And so that would have been very interesting to have seen him done that. And honestly, it would be, if you're not talking about Falco Marth, if you're saying what does Mango the player need to do? Well, maybe it's Fox, or maybe it's Fox for certain levels, or maybe it's Fox to just throw off Zane's timing even more because he, like I was saying, he already was able to do that some. So there are still ways to do it, and there are ways that Fox can do edge guards, for example, that can make things more straightforward than when Falco does it. So that could clean up something as well. So there are various ways he can solve, and maybe this is one of the solutions, or maybe it's just part of it, or who knows, and maybe it just works for a while. But I hopefully that gives the nation some hope.
Yeah. I would also just add, by the way, there's so much footage of them playing friendlies. Like, if you want to see what it looks like there are definitely stretches when they play friendlies where Mango looks really, really good. Like, you can go watch those friendly, like they're all on Zane's channel from them playing IRL for hours and hours. Like, you could definitely find matches where it's like, yeah, this is what Mango needs to do. Like the information is there, you just got to go watch the videos, watch the footage.
Sure. Check the tapes.
Good question, SpaceOpera.
Thanks so much, guys. That analysis definitely makes sense. And looking forward to see Mango taking some games. I mean, I love them both, so it's hard to root against one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, man. Baby. Any GGs? You got any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, I'll make a couple. First of all, I'd like to shout out my law school Smash playing friends. Gabe, Dennis, Jordan, Tyler, Cam, and I'd also like to shout out my my childhood friend whom I played a lot of Melee with growing up, Alec Cohen, who is getting married later this year.
Hey, let's go.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Great shout out.
So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Honor to meet all you guys. Been a big fan of the scene for a long time.
Thank you.
Honor to talk to you, SpaceOpera.
Cheers. Great username, by the way.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I thought so too. All right. I think we got 2 more callers today.
Let's go.
So without further ado, hello. Ninja Boy, you're back.
Well, welcome back.
You're muted.
There we go.
And
you're muted again.
Well, it could be that they didn't configure their mic in Discord, or Discord switched their mic source.
Oh man.
Shit.
Yeah, you got to click on that gear. You're going to want to go to audio and video settings.
Yeah.
I've had to do that.
You got to do that. Yeah.
Sometimes you do that. That's how it goes on Discord. In the name of the channel, Mike Check, for this reason. Don't we have them?
It's gonna be fine, dude. What are you, a nerd? You're gonna check your mic, bro?
Channel.
All right, we got
we're
one.
switching
Oh,
we're switching the order of the people.
Snap.
Wow.
This
Twitch
guy.
is web. What a
This
what a
guy.
legend. A
Twitch is
denizen of
web.
the internet.
Hi.
What up? You got a nice
goodness.
voice, dude.
Yes,
What's
he
up,
does.
That is how he sounds.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful, especially now that you're here, King.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God. Hi, dog.
What do you
know-
got for us today, man?
That's such a wonderful question. Let me remember. It's been so long since I typed it. No, my question for all of you was about metagame. It is what is there anything special that either was cut from metagame or that you wish you talked about? Like any sort of interesting story or concept?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, that is an excellent question. There's so much that you could potentially cover. This is one of those things too that applies to the original Smash Talk, where it was like, I wanted to cover forward story because he was like the OG sort of like living off couches and like but I was never able to get to the Southwest, and so unfortunately we never hooked up to talk about that. That was a big regret, and obviously not having an interview with Zain for the first one.
Did you try to get him, by the way, or was he just too elusive?
Yeah, Zain was the only one that actually straight up just refused an
That's
interview.
what I thought.
Refused.
Yeah, he did
Wow.
not want to. He at the time he just did not want to do it. He did later on after it had already come out. Then
He was
had
like, "Oh
changed
yeah,
his
you want to
tune.
talk?"
You know
Wait,
what
how
that
much
is?
later?
You know what
How
that
much
is?
later?
Like it was like a good 6 months, I think afterwards that
He had time to watch it and think
Yeah.
about it. He
After
saw
it
it
had
being
made its impact.
sponsored.
That's when people are like the people that like a stock has been going way up, and then they're like, and then finally that it's already grown a bunch. They're like, oh, we got to get in now, and then, but they've already missed the boat,
Yeah, as in buys high. As in
He
buys
buys
high.
high. He buys high. He buys high.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot of untold stories about the original, which actually, you know what? I just thought of another great
Any
Samox
favorites?
facts.
Let's go. Patreon.com/Samox.
Yeah, that you can get them. But I'll tell you one right now. I when I was in the MDVA area doing the interviews, and I will get around to the stories for metagame Twitch is web question. But when I was doing Smash Brothers stuff, I was in the area to interview Chillin and Wife and Chudat as well. I was going to stay or go to his house for like a Smash Fest and do all that. So I rented I believe it was a Yaris car. It was a very tiny, compact car.
Toyota, yeah.
And when I was in the area, I went to Washington D.C. Took like a 10-hour bus ride down there, and then rented the car. I don't know why I didn't just rent it where I was and drive there way faster. I was living in Boston at the time, so a 10-hour ride to Washington D.C. It was a little rough, but. I ended up deciding that, you know what, I'm not even going to try to get a hotel room. I didn't have enough money, so I was just going to sleep in the car. And the Yaris, if you know anything about a Yaris, is like this. It's like this big.
They're not big, yeah. They're
It's
small.
so teeny. So the first night I actually slept about maybe 500 yards away from the White House in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
So I was sort of getting used to sleeping in it. The next day, I felt like, kind of rough, but I ended up feeling kind of good. Like I went to this park and took a run, and I was like,
wow.
I could live like this. I could live like forward and just sort of, live on the road, like be a Smash journeyman.
That's cool.
But thankfully, Chu's father insisted that I not sleep in the car. When I was, filming the Smash Fest, I was like, you have to come inside and sleep on the floor. So,
man, the luxury life, you got the floor, man. That's dope.
Yeah. So there were a lot of stories that didn't make it into the Smash Brothers, and there were quite a few that made it in, that were I didn't get to do in metagame. I mean, I wish that I had more time to cover every single aspect of a lot of the stories that I did. Obviously, in retrospect, it would have been cool to kind of get Leffen's story at the time. And I did do an interview with him before, but it was a very short interview, not unlike the interview I did with Mango for the first documentary. It was too loud and it didn't really work, and it was just it was at Beauty 9, so it was just sort of like at the tournament. It was just kind of on a whim. So having him and his side of the story could have been really interesting. I think it ended up fine though, because he really was sort of this more of a force of change in the story. It wasn't really about him so much as like the ending of an era where we're passing the baton. But there are some stories that like I had to be removed after the fact. That it was as a result of the allegations and stuff that happened last summer. So metagame has taken some body blows by just circumstance. And there's an alternate universe where there's a lot less creeps, and the resulting creation is a lot better for it. But to be honest,
had to get Ludwig to dub over more.
I know.
That's all we need. I just love it. It comes on and it says like he's like Smash player and comp. What is he? And he says something like, "Yeah, it's like Armada hits really hard."
Yeah.
Thanks, Lud.
That's the 10K viewer streamer presence.
Yeah.
Yes, he really put everything into that one.
He did. It's good. Totally. It's a good line. Whatever he said. It's a good line, though. It's punchy.
Oh, yes.
It is kind of like, in retrospect, also having maybe more about Mewtwo King and Hungry Box. Although at the time, I felt like I had already covered a lot of their stories in the previous doc.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to put more of the focus on different players. So Mango, Armada, and PP obviously got the most spotlight. But if I could go back and add in like the little the Return of the King at the Big House 3 could have been cool.
That would have been cool.
So
yeah, there's so many. I like. I'm gonna ask this question a little differently, which is like moments from that era that I think could be in a separate documentary. Like I spent a lot of time in Japan in this era, and Japan had like an endless. There were so many stories and kind of interesting tidbits. I still think someone could go and do. Yeah, even talking to. I remember talking to Captain Jack when I hung out with him in Japan, and he was telling me about the Jack Garden tournament, that Bomb Soldier and Ken played at, and and how big of a surprise. Because you got to realize, like back then, I think the way people looked at that match in America was, oh man, this is like the best Marth versus best Falco, or whatever. This guy Bomb Soldier, he's super. Super good, super technical Falco, which he was. But it was really interesting because in Japan, it was a total upset.
Right.
For example, the Bomb Soldier did that good. No one really knew who Bomb Soldier was going into that tournament. And it was interesting because apparently the people that he played with, because he's from Tokyo, okay, and the people that he played with could all beat him. But he got apparently he got like a really good bracket where he had to play a bunch of people coming in from out of town, from Osaka and these other Japanese cities. And they'd never played a Falco like Bomb Soldier, so he kind of tore through his bracket, and he was the guy that ended up representing Japan to fight Ken. And so I don't think the America ever got that side of the story. For example, they were confused when Bomb Soldier came to OC3 and didn't do super hot. They were like, oh, they had a narrative about him then, or they're like, oh, it was, like there was some confusion at the time. So I think people probably piece things together in a certain way. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember when I heard about that. Maybe I heard it from you even. I don't, unfortunately, I don't fully remember. Could have been.
Yeah, could have been. But I heard that I think a year or two ago about Bomb Soldier, and I was really surprised.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
lot of
really
random
random.
stories like that. Yeah, there should
Yeah.
be some. I mean, it'd be cool if someone did some sort of Japan melee doc because there were a
Well,
lot of interesting tidbits.
there was a dude named, I believe, Slim Shady. I don't know how you say it.
Shady, yeah, the
yeah,
German guy, the German Dr. Mario player.
he did a Japan doc.
Oh, that's right.
It's more modern though.
That's
It's
true.
not as much like
Yeah.
historical stuff, but
Right.
definitely worth taking a look at because there are definitely some interesting stories that he covers about a Falcon player that I can't remember his name, but really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I'll look up what it's called right now.
And then anything else? You mentioned Big House 3.
Yeah.
I guess the only other thing I would say would be like, if I was going to be selfish, I would say it'd be really cool if there was a bit on like Scar and Melee It On Me.
Yeah.
Because I remember, that was kind of an interesting like shift. This was like the transition to like Facebook, and this was kind of the period where we got away from, for example, a lot of the language that we used to use that was pretty toxic back in the day, and Scar kind of. Honestly, Scar and Prague kind of spearheaded that, and that was kind of. I mean, I don't know if, obviously, there's so many directions. There's so many stories you can tell.
Well, no, that's a good one. I think the cultural shift that was that happened was that was sort of the turning point because we were all eyes were sort of on Evo, and what wasn't Melee on Me. The podcast was created as a response to this potential that we could be. In Evo.
At Evo, right, exactly. Yeah, that was and so for me, like, I look back on that era kind of like as the Melee FGC kind of integration era where Melee got kind of incorporated into Evo and these other fighting game tournaments, and those really propelled Melee. And I think of that period as kind of like the Melee It On Me period of my life, where it was like, and then there was like MIOM Mango, remember it was MIOM Mango before it was, and there was VGBC PP, before and CT M2K and HBox, and I thought that was an interesting. There's something there for sure. I think, where there was like it was like a cultural shift, and I don't know how, anyway.
I think we were getting more cognizant of the fact that we had a bigger stage potentially, and that really kind of drove home the phone. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should re-examine some of these things that we haven't really talked about, and because I think it really changed everything for the better. But as far as any more stories I can think of that didn't make it into metagame or that I wanted to do. There were a few segments that I couldn't find a place for. There's an extra actually where it's Mango describing where he got his username, or I'm sorry, his gamer tag, which is I kept on trying to find the right place to put it, but it wasn't. I could never make it work. I'm that's definitely going to be an extra for sure. But it's a fun little snippet of him or some CS:GO. And explaining about the whole eating that I want a mango thing as his tag in CS:GO or CS. And then like little things like that. There's also a great segment that didn't end up. It was going to be like an extra. Unfortunately, there's just it can't really happen. I think now because a lot of the people that gave me these interviews are no longer welcome, and I don't want to include them. But it was about how speedrunning and Melee share a lot in common. And it was really interesting to me. There was this interesting thread about how a lot of the interesting parts of Melee, and you talked about this, Toph, about how you had mentioned Yoshi's Island as like this classic sort of speedrunner thing. There's these weird connections between the speedrunning, these old platformer games from the golden age of consoles in the 90s, and sort of how that you'd find these advanced techniques, and the same is true for Melee, where it's like this platform sort of arena. But I don't know, it just really fascinated me. There's something about that era, the mid 90s, console era stuff, going up into a Melee's creation, I think early 2000s, Counter-Strike and StarCraft Brood War. There's like a mentality, I think, that went into game design that really sort of, I think that could be a really dope story. And I did have a section on it that I just, I couldn't really find a place for. So
I don't want to do like a YouTube video on that or something. You know, I feel like that'd be a fascinating YouTube video.
100%.
Which I mean, it wouldn't have to be. You know, it could be like a half hour. Could be like some summoning salt kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
100%, dude.
I have to think about that. I don't know. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to branch it on my YouTube. You know. So.
I think that's 100%. You should do that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that crossover even today, right? Like literally, you know, still I would say, there's obviously Armada went to speedrunning.
Yes.
And then on the flip side of things, I would say still a lot of the big speedrunners follow, follow Melee and stuff like that. You know, you look like Clint Stevens still does a lot of stuff with like Mango, and you know, we'll talk here and there, and
Siglemic played
Siglemic. I played him in tournament. Yeah, I played.
Yeah, Siglemic was playing hardcore for a while.
Yeah. There's still a lot of is it Simply that used to? I think he played Melee, right? Simply that money match with Ludwig, I think.
Yeah, he did that. He did get my beat, I think.
He did get, but I mean, well, it was Simply versus Ludwig, right?
Right.
Ludwig's like
who plays Melee a ton.
He's not amazing at Melee, but he's like also not bad, you know. Like he should beat Simply or whatever.
I don't think Simply plays very much now. He used to years ago, but yeah.
Did he?
He doesn't play
Did he?
much.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he was. I think he was. I don't know if he ended up getting ranked or not, but he was pretty solid. And they would enter tournaments at the GDQs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
GDQ always has a Melee tournament, I believe. I mean, not when they're online, but you know, offline.
Well, they could.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you know, I think that's still there. I think it's a dope little connection. You know, Melee kind of sits at the crossroads between like speedrunning and the FGC and you know some other esports, right? League of Legends and things like that, because there's kind of interesting because of the MLG days or what have you. There's Halo fans that like Melee.
Yeah. There's so many. There's so much crossover. There's so many references I'll see to Smash or Melee when I'm just watching other things. I'm like, well, I didn't.
We need to do more with that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, think about that. Anyway, yeah, good question. Good question, Webb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why? Thank you. I mean, well, technically, you didn't ask me if I was satisfied with your answers, but I'm going to tell you that I am.
Thank you, Webb.
Thanks, Webb.
Anything that gets you guys telling stories is good in my book.
Well, cheers. If you have any other questions too, feel free to ask it here or in the stream or in my stream, because I know I will see you there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You guys are great.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, any shout-outs?
Man.
Shout-outs, yes. Shout-outs, because they weren't doing that in episode 1. This is my chance. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So, first of all, shout-outs to all of you. Golden Guardians is doing amazing things in Melee. Samox is a very passionate and skilled producer.
And beautiful.
Fifi, I'm not going to talk about you. I've said too much.
That's
so, absolutely well-spoken, very invested, skillful guy. We love all of you. Shoutouts to the Erie Nation. Shoutouts to every stream monster that is proud of who they are, the Melee community, my girlfriend, and my mom. So, I guess that's about it for me.
Great shoutouts.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Take care, man. Thank you for coming on.
I think we got one more caller, one more question. Are we still going to do Ninja Boy? Do we know?
I don't know. They were flying around the mic checks. I have no idea what came from all of it.
Yeah, mic check one, mic check two.
No more callers. No more callers. The people at the production is saying, heck it, we done.
Yeah, we'll try to get him on. I like this question. I saw it in the thing. Hopefully he comes back next Tuesday, asks us his question, which I won't spoil. Even though I know his question was... You know what? We usually do like a 10-minute. I'm actually going to do this for Ninja Boy. Ninja Boy's a stream monster of mine. Hangs out on my Twitch chat a lot. I actually think it's interesting because it's a question that's directed mostly at Samox. I'm just going to read it. We can chat about it in our little outro because we usually do a little 10-minute outro before we sign off. He basically asked, Ninja Boy said, so as someone who aspires to potentially making content about Melee, like how do you balance your own creative vision with like the impact you feel like your work is going to have on potential consumers or viewers or whatever, especially when you're working with something like Melee, where it's a very dedicated, opinionated community and also a little bit of a niche community.
So how do you balance sort of your own creative vision with what was the other side of it?
Like
The impact.
your own creative
The
with the
impact.
impact it's going to have on potential viewers and like the community at large.
Right.
and, like,
So you're sort of trying to find, and that's actually a really good question, because you do. I think, whenever I approach something, and I've actually gave an entire talk about this, about when I got called out online for the way that Brawl was portrayed in the very first documentary. And it's sort of this big discussion about it, and I because in my documentary I used some clips that were not pro players in Brawl to delineate basically what it was that the melee scene had a problem with about Brawl. Why were they not excited about it? Why was and it was backed up by Chillin and everybody kind of talking about how it was slow, couldn't really combo, all that good stuff. Things that everybody knows about Brawl. And that's where that disconnect is. My vision was to create something that really showed the viewer this is how at least Brawl from the melee people's perspective. And in order to really show that, I needed to make sure that I used clips that were sort of backing up what they were saying. I ended up actually, Brawl is covered in the first episode of Metagame as well. This time I chose clips that were, definitely kind of showcased those same things, but they were from real tournaments and stuff. They were from tournament players. But I don't even necessarily think that what I did was necessarily bad. It's just it was a way to really get the perspective across. And in that sense, you always have to you're running a line between what is entertaining, what is getting the message across, and what is the truth, what are the facts. And you could read a Wikipedia article just to get the facts. You can go through and be very, very straight with everything, but there's no way you're going to entertain people that way. You're not going to keep people's attention that way. So I think there's a balance, and you have to really kind of search inside. I've gone back and forth about is this, because you have to kind of brush over some of the granular stuff. You could get really granular, but then you're sort of losing people. You need to kind of paint in broad strokes, but also try to do your best to make sure that you're not outright fabricating something.
And I have a quick question, Samox.
Yeah.
Are you able to please everyone?
No, that's a very good point. You can't please everybody. That is the end of that sentence. Is you have to try to find a balance, but you're never going to please everybody, especially when you're making something that so many people play, so many people have opinions on. So you will never get to that point where everybody's going to be like, that's awesome. I think you really just have to be true to yourself, and as long as what you're doing is the truth, or is you're trying to get a truth portrayed, then I don't think that you won't have any trouble sleeping at night, essentially. But it's a complex issue, man. It's one of those things that you have to weigh. It's the psychology of humanity. It's how to make a story balanced with what is the absolute truth and facts and stuff. And I don't know. I am continuously, as I learn as I go, I gain a new appreciation for everybody's perspective on it. Every time somebody says something about maybe you could have done this way, I always, I didn't think about it that way. So the criticism is great in that regard, because it opens my mind to new possibilities.
As long as it's constructive.
As long as it's constructive. But it's one of those things where I think at the end of the day, you just got to be, if you got a vision, you got to go for it. And I think that's true for everybody in life. Anybody that wants to play Melee has a vision for the way they want to play. Everybody is their own person, and that's the best part about it. Is you can get a million different perspectives on one thing. If you have a video that has one perspective, that's not the end all be all. No video is ever actual literal truth. It's always from a single perspective, or at most multiple people's perspective. But it's never going to capture everything. So the only way to get the full picture, or the best facsimile we can get to truth, is just get as many different sources and perspectives as you can. So I think it's a long way of saying, Trust yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in
trust
yourself.
Stack even higher.
Stack
Even higher.
even higher.
Unto infinity.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good answer. Yeah. I mean, I've thought about this a little bit as like a content creator or whatever. I feel like I'm a big fan of like, you know, I kind of said this to Esca earlier with like his controller thing, but it's like people are always gonna feel like there's some niche. It's like, damn, why isn't this guy doing this thing? And it's like, well, if you ever feel that way, you should just do it. And so for me, like, you know, there's a specific style of content that I really appreciate in other scenes, and I'm like, I don't think anyone's doing that in Melee right now, so I'm gonna try to bring that to Melee. And yeah, you at the end of the day, that's got to come from within. It's got to be your own kind of intrinsic sort of creative vision, I guess. Because if you don't have that and you try to zoom too far out, you try to zoom on what people want, what consumers want, what viewers want, like you're gonna spread yourself too thin, you're gonna burn out. That's been my experience. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like if you don't make it about the art form, and you make it about the end user or whatever at the end of the day, like you're just gonna burn out. You're gonna get obsessed about but what about this faction of people that aren't gonna be happy with what I'm doing or whatever. And there's just no end to it. It you know, yeah. That's where I'm at.
The demographics, the stats, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think
will-
everyone that does make it big and make something great started and probably continued, for that matter, by following their creative vision, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I think a lot about this sort of thing, and I let the question was mainly for Samox, but he appears to have let his Cam and who knows what else go on a journey for a moment. So I'll take a moment to say, I often
again.
Yeah, probably again. He did say before we came on that he was concerned about it. I would have gone without answering if I could have, but because he has gone on a journey, I have no choice. Toph did give a wonderful answer though, so that was really cool. And but yeah, I mean, I think about the impact I have on people a lot. I probably spend equal time to that, if not like way more time than about like the ideas themselves. And that causes me to mostly not do things because I hate it when people get mad. I hate it when people get mad. Even if I'm like, I don't think that your anger makes sense at all. I don't like it. And so it just makes me not do things. Like even when someone called in and had a very reasonable question about Mango Zain, I'm like, I'm trying to sit here and think, okay, well, how do I answer this in a way that doesn't get like a bunch of people mad at me or Mango mad at me or something like that? And I think about that more than I think about answering the question well, because I just don't like upsetting people, and I hate that. So that is my challenge as a content creator, 100%.
I really relate to what you just said. I think it's really easy to become it's like it even kind of ties in the whole like perfectionism versus, you know what I mean? It's like
absolutely.
You feel like you don't want to put something out unless it's perfect.
Right. Why doesn't everyone with all of their perspectives love this thing I did? I love it, but then you realize that like everyone's not going to love it. So then you have conclusions you could make, and mine, which is not the healthiest, is to be like, well, okay, I'm just not going to put that many things out there then. And, so I'm not recommending. I'm not recommending my path to people. I'm just saying that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I super relate to that though. I super relate to that. I think it's really easy to fall into that. And everyone who does anything great at the end of the day, you gotta, it's about trusting yourself, like Samox said.
Yeah, take risks. You take risks, man. And that's the thing, like, sand stacking is just a silly thing I had, but it could be fun, and it's definitely a risk.
I don't think it's silly.
You're an innovator, and I won't let you slander yourself like this. You are a king and a visionary, and sand stacking is cool.
Well, and I appreciate that. I do hope to see it kind of go places. It is kind of funny, like thinking about putting stuff out there and criticism. The first doc got like no criticism whatsoever. So like it was just all like washing over in
Yeah,
glory.
everyone
And
was
it's like,
so excited. I think some like things started coming in after a while, but I think like
Yeah.
the overall like excitement of it was just because I think we hadn't seen something like that before. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
you
but
saw it, man. You were like the first one that responded to my thread.
I was there.
That's
It was
freaking
me.
ridiculous. You had the vision, bro.
Well, you had it first, but then I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I donated I don't know how much to the initial
You gave me at least
starter.
$50.
Yeah,
pretty
something
sure.
like that. I don't know. It wasn't really about that. It was kind of just like, oh, this is cool. This could be really good for us. I'm gonna go for it. And I talked to a couple of people at the time, and they were very cynical. They're like, he's just gonna take the money and run, right? That's what everyone does. And I was like, well, if he takes it, at least I know I gave it to something that was really cool. That was like still
Yeah.
a good idea.
Honestly, yeah, that most of the time the people do. Well, not most of the time, but a lot of time people do just take
It
the
does
money
happen.
and run.
We've
So-
had that happen in Smash
We
too.
have.
People have done that,
Yep.
which is sad. So,
But we've also had some really, I remember when VGBC Video Boot Camp showed up to Pound 4. I was like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah,
This is some.
they
corporate-
had like hot dogs and a truck or something that they were selling.
I
That's
didn't know
right.
what that was going on.
That's right.
And then we had Gimmer.
Oh, we have
Spencer showed up to a NorCal local one day and just
Mm.
connected his streaming setup to the TV. I don't think anyone knew who he was. I don't think the
really?
TOs even knew who he was.
That's
he
cool.
showed up to some random NorCal local, plugged his shit in, and started streaming the event. I was like, I don't really
That's
know who the
hype.
fuck this guy is, but all right, kind of thing.
Run
And then
it.
he just kept doing it, and then he became one of the greatest streamers known to mankind. So,
Absolutely.
everyone
agrees.
because we didn't say to him, "Hey, who are you? Don't take our money and run." We trusted him, and sometimes you just
Yeah.
got to trust a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta trust.
Yeah.
It's true. The worst
Yeah.
thing that can happen is, lays a fart, and that's it. And go on to the next thing.
Yeah. Go on to the next thing.
Well said. Well said. Samox.
Well said. Thanks for coming on today, Samox. This was a lot of fun to have you on the program with us.
I
My
agree.
pleasure,
I
man.
love it when Samox is here, man. What a good man.
Mhm,
Thank you so much for all you do for the scene. You are a pillar of the community. You are a ray of sunshine. You are well spoken. Your respect.
You're like a gentle breeze on a spring day.
Yes.
You're like a tulip
You're
fluttering
like
about.
a tulip blooming after a thunderous storm. You bloom.
That's
you are
right.
the one
Oh,
tulip
man.
left, and you open up into the sun.
Yeah.
You guys are too much. I appreciate it, and honestly, I cannot wait. I think I'm gonna have to go to Riptide. Is it?
Mm.
Is
Yeah, Riptide.
Riptide the first in
I'm
person?
gonna go.
Yes,
I'm going.
that's the one.
I
I'm in
need
the
to
process
get.
of talking Zayn, and I'm in the process of talking Zayn into going.
I need to get into in-person events. You should. I'm 100% down. If that's like the first big thing that people are gonna go to,
That's the one.
I'm there, man.
Yeah.
So,
Will Samox have a cam there? Probably not, but maybe.
a cam, like
Recording.
no. I'm
No.
going to be.
No, he's going. It's pleasure, not business.
Well, I'll bring stuff to like
All he's
sign.
gonna have
Actually,
is a pair of tweezers.
yeah,
And a dream.
and a dream,
dream.
Hand stacking side event in the hotel.
live
Freedom.
sand stacking side event.
Yeah.
They're a water
Yes.
park. They probably have sand.
Sure.
Legit sand, real sand.
Yeah.
Thank.
The kids have probably.
I've
peed
never
on
been
it.
there. I've never been to Kalahari Water Park, whatever it's called. but I
What is
hear
it,
good things.
Kalahari?
I don't. Yeah, I think it might.
Kalahari Drive. What's the name of the place? I don't know what the name of the place is. It's some water park. It's in
Yeah.
somewhere. It's somewhere.
So
I've never been.
I wanted to. I know we're wrapping things up. I just wanted to give you guys one little treat. If you guys,
Yeah.
you know the opening of Godslayer,
Mm.
where it's like
I-
that
Not off the top of my
intense-
head, but
the intense narration, and it's
oh
like
yeah,
you know,
the only game that matters.
yes,
Super
the only
Smash
game that
Brothers.
matters
Yeah.
in the universe. So that actually was the less silly version of the narration that I wrote. So I'll give you guys the full silly. This is my original idea for the
Okay, here
opening
we go.
narration. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah, I do.
Bless
All right,
us.
here we go. There was an age long ago, ruled by gods, so
Like me.
named for their terrifying power in the only game that matters in the universe, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I had to hold on to that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
For years, they dominated the land. They crushed their enemies, and they burned their crops. Many champions tried valiantly to oppose them,
I hate when
sometimes
people do
nearly defeating them all. but always falling short.
Hmm.
Actually, no, the rest of this is actually the same. After nearly a decade of oppression, when things seemed at their most dire, hope found root. In the most
I remember
desperate
Hope Found
hour,
Root.
an unlikely hero emerged, a Yoshi player named William. I just removed the the many champion. For years they dominated the land, they crushed their enemies, and they burned their crops.
I lost it at burning the crops. That is so funny. Your grain gone, bro.
I used to hate when people
Heck
did
that.
that. That was actually I was I was gonna tell him to stop doing that, but
Yeah, Impulse
Wow.
2012. I took your grain, bro. Sorry.
Why,
Yeah.
man? Why you
Which
gotta do
was-
that?
dude, symbolic. I think.
My
I think
crops.
It's mostly
I
symbolic.
corner the market. Me. I
Yeah,
am
make
the
me a
only
little
farmer
economic.
in town.
Yeah, it's true. You guys, you got all the prize money, so
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
burning crops.
All of the $2 in the pot. We took them.
In Canada, they
That's-
use maple
They lose maple.
leaves.
That's
It's
the
much
impulse.
harder. It's much harder to burn all the maple, but you know
Is
you
it?
can get there.
Why is it harder?
Well, there's just more leaves.
It's like less flammable. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you knew something about the chemical structure of
I
maple. that made it, like,
don't.
harder
I
to burn.
don't.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not Canadian. They don't tell me that.
Yeah, it's like it's inside. It's like a
You're born
it's
with
like
that.
a
You have to get indoctrinated.
trade
if you-
secret.
if
That's
you
what I'm
move.
looking. That's a
Yeah,
trade
yeah,
secret.
yeah,
Trade
yeah,
That's what I was. That's what I was trying to figure out.
yeah, yeah. Passed down for
Alright.
generations.
No.
Passed down for generations. Well, thank you again, Samox. I think it's about time we wrap up.
My
This has
pleasure,
been a
dude.
Wonderful episode of Radio Melee. Every Tuesday, we do this every Tuesday. Me and PP, we'll probably have another
right.
guest on next week. Failing that, we'll just get Samox again.
Hey,
Peace out, everybody.
He's gonna hang out.
Mhm.
Sand stacking stream.
Woo.
Yeah.